Hello, hello, and welcome. My name is Brandon Wheeler, and wonder why I strong mouse because he can't talk unless I'm biting down something. Okay, moving on. Uh, it's Christmas season today, starting straight after Thanksgiving. Woo! And I decided to kick it off by seeing a Christmas movie I have never seen before, which everyone seemingly talks about this time of year. Elf. Yes, I've never seen Elf. First time I watched it today. Starring Will Farrell, James Cann, Edward Asner, Bob Newhart, which I know from the Newhart, not the Bob Newhart show, or was it the Newhart? One of the Newhart shows, the one with Daryl, his other brother Daryl, that one. That's the one I know him from. And he voiced in The Rescuers too. Can't forget that. But and I also had, well, I don't want to spoil it, but Elf is a story about a movie about a story of a little boy who accidentally slips into Santa's sleigh as an orphan, and he gets transferred up to the North Pole, and the elves decide to raise him as one of his own, or one of their own. And he becomes, for the next 30 years, like them, except he's tall and he's a human. He's slower than the other ones as well. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, what's your Etch-a-Sketch? How many Etch-a-Sketches you made today? 85. 85? You're 915 short. You have to make 1,000 Etch-a-Sketches? My goodness. Although but he finds out, oh no, he's actually he's not an elf, he's a human, and that his actual biological father, played by James Caan, lives in New York. See, his mother had a child and didn't tell his father about it, and she put him up for adoption, and she died. So James Caan, his character, he didn't know he even existed this whole time for 30 years. And here it is. Now now Elf, who's the elf played by Will Farrell. He's called Buddy because he wore these Buddy diapers. That was the brand name, and that's became his name. He goes and he's there to try to find where his actual father is, to find out where he's at and who he's from and everything. So it's let's see. As far as humor, it has some funny moments. It does. Some of it's just kind of like, oh gosh, this is kind of cringy in some ways, but I mean, I like the world building aspect stuff. Like, it used very heavily from the Rankin Bass, stop motion claymation, stop motion cartoons of Rudolph the reindeer, because the way the elf hats are and everything, those clothes directly associated with that. But Bob Newhart's kind of like the narrator character, and also Buddy's adoptive father. But he he said in the beginning, it's like, elves have three different jobs that we can go in. You could either be a shoe cobbler or bake cookies in a tree, which is very hard to do in the dry season, or work at the North Pole. And I'm just thinking, wait, looking it up, I know this movie came out in 2003, and because of that, I know for a fact that Lord of the Rings came out that year, or one of the Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King came out that year. But I was just thinking, Legolas is an elf. They should have had they could have, because it said New Line Cinema in the beginning. It's like, New Line Cinema helped put out Lord of the Rings. They could have easily had a Legolas cameo. Easily. We're like, well, there is a fourth option in Middle Earth, but we don't go there. That could have been all they had to do, and just show Legolas just walking through, and maybe like Galadriel and the other elves, they just kind of look down at them being like, or maybe Gimli just looking at the elf like, wait, you're an elf? Yeah. How is this possible? It would have been a perfect type cameo to put in the Lord of the Rings joke right there, but they didn't do that. They stuck with the three thing. They're like, okay, but that was cool. Type thing. So the world building aspect and everything going through is directed by Jon Favreau, because I was like, wait, that doctor looks like Jon Favreau. Oh, it is Jon Favreau. Oh, okay. And it says directed by him in the beginning. And I didn't make the thing. Like, oh, okay. He often cameos in the same things that he's in. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But Zooey, okay, I have to talk about this real quick. But let me keep going in the story. If you don't know about the film, yes, I did like the film. Overall, it's a little cringy with its humor at times. I cannot eat spaghetti with Pop-Tarts, M&Ms, marshmallows. Please tell me he only did that in one take, because that would be so much sugar. Oh yeah, and maple syrup. There's that is too much to operate on. That is not healthy at all. My goodness. That is not healthy at all. I hope he had a palate cleanser between all that. But part of the aspect of why it's a little cringy is because he's completely known about the North Pole, and he goes to New York, and he doesn't know anything about human culture or anything, so he doesn't know anything about what is going on, which is kind of like, well, Santa gave him a little thing in the beginning, and you have the other characters, but they couldn't have told him, like, about everything that goes on there, or like how human culture is vastly different. They couldn't tell him that. They couldn't give him instructions or anything. It's like, why not? Why are you just throwing him as a fish out of water? I know that's what adds to the humor, but you could have given him some sort of info, like, hey, this is how humans run, this is how stuff works in the world. But hey, he's giving cheer wherever he goes. Which, he gets involved with this Santa place where, Santa's coming tomorrow, of course, small Santa. And he's like, well, I'm going to stay the night, and he's going to spruce up the place and make it more North Pole. He builds Legos out of everything. He actually makes the place look nice. And I was like, wow, impressive. Much more festive. But he falls in love with an elf there. Well, a female, human elf. Or human playing an elf, at the thing. Just, I'm dressed as an elf working for Santa. That's just what the job is. Played by Zooey Deschanel. And I know she was in this movie. I know I'm looking at her in this movie, but I cannot comprehend it's her because she has blonde hair in the movie. And it's just kind of like every time I've seen Zooey Deschanel, like in anything, she always has the long brown hair. And it doesn't feel like the same person at all. It just doesn't feel like, it keeps rejecting it. It's like, that's not Zooey Deschanel with blonde hair. She can't have blonde hair. She has black. It does not compute. It makes no sense. It just doesn't work. I know Zooey Deschanel mostly from that Tin Man series that was on Sci-Fi, which is heavily based off Wizard of Oz. You can say kind of a sequel. Even though I saw that years ago, me and my dad, we stayed up all 3 nights to watch the miniseries. And we recorded it too. But so technically I probably only watched it once, the whole thing. But it's not a series that I've gone by that's kind of so fascinating to me because of the Wizard of Oz aspect. And yet so just like, what is this? So it's just kind of like, what is going on in this? I could talk about the Tin Man thing a long time. Maybe I'll rewatch it and try to explain it, but it's just like, what? But I know her specifically from that Tin Man movie or series. So as far as this movie goes, a little cringy at times, but it's nice, it's cute for what it is and everything. And it's just like, okay, it is infectious. I'm glad we got the family togetherness and all that, and helping Santa at the end with everything. It's like, okay, that's good. So I mean, overall, yeah, it's a good movie and everything. I know people have said they want a sequel, but because I know I'm not reading that a long time because people always ask for a sequel, and he's like, I don't know where to go with it. And watching the movie, I'm like, yeah, I don't know where they go for a sequel too, because he already accomplished, getting with his family. He has a wife. He's got a baby now at the end. Where would you go with it? Just following, it's been 20 years since the movie came out, so you could follow the daughter, call it Elfie, because her name's Susie, but she's, even though she's not half elf technically, but she's kind of raised in a way by elf's attitudes, by the way her father is. So she's kind of determining the world of like where everything is. But maybe the North Pole needs saving, and she has to go up to help save the North Pole or something. I don't know where you would really go with the film at all. So it's just, I don't know. So unless Santa needs an heir, like his kids doesn't want to take it over, so Buddy has to step in or something. I don't know. But I don't know. But if you haven't seen the movie, it's an alright film. You can go watch. I really like the whimsy world building stuff. The set mostly in the beginning, like they used kind of the same snowman again from the Rankin Bass thing. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So it's just like, yeah, go watch the film. It's a nice little film. It's a little bit like I'm trying to try stuff off the street and like, it's like, bro, you don't know what that stuff is or what are the germs. But it's a nice film, so definitely gets you in the mood for like a nice little holiday thing. So have you seen the film? Tell me what you think about it. Probably you have, because pretty much almost everyone, I guess, has seen it, because it's one of those type movies. All right, well, see you in the next one. Goodbye.